My child, do not skip this message. This is a divine interruption, a sacred appointment designed explicitly for your soul long before the foundations of this world were laid. If you are hearing these words right now, it is not by chance, it is not by accident, but because heaven has marked this exact moment to speak directly into your spirit. Pause for a moment, let the exhausting noise of this busy world fade away into the background, and listen carefully to what your Father has to say. Only the weary will truly understand the depth of what I am about to reveal to you today. This message is intentionally hidden from the proud, but it is reserved strictly for the faithful, the one who is spiritually exhausted, the one who has been carrying heavy burdens that no human shoulder was ever meant to bear alone. I know exactly how tired you are. I know the weight of the deep heaviness that presses against your chest every morning when you wake up, forcing yourself to smile so the world thinks you are strong while your heart is breaking in absolute silence. I have watched you, my beloved child. I have recorded every hidden battle you fought in the quiet of your heart, the painful trials that no one else could see, and the isolation that sat heavily on your soul. When others judged your silence, I was watching your endurance. When you walked into crowded rooms yet felt completely invisible and forgotten, I was standing close to you than your very breath. You have whispered in the dark, wondering if your prayers were completely wasted or if heaven was permanently closed against you. Every sleepless night, every single moment where despair whispered that nothing would ever change, all of it was being recorded in heaven's eternal books. I tell you now, not a single cry went unheard, and not a single tear rolled down your cheek without being caught by my hand. Your silent trust when you could have complained has become a beautiful fragrance of worship before me. Your waiting season has been long and filled with shadows, but hear me clearly today. Your waiting season ends today. Do not turn away from this holy moment, for what I am about to unlock in your life will completely reframe every ounce of suffering you have survived. The divine shift you have been crying out for is no longer a distant dream. It is unfolding right now, and the doors carved by my hand are about to open wide. My child, I want you to take a deep, quiet breath right now and let these words sink into the most exhausted places of your soul. You have spent such a long time running on empty, pouring out your love, your energy, and your faith for everyone else, while silently starving for a single drop of comfort yourself. You have looked around in the middle of your darkest nights, searching for just one soul who could truly comprehend the depth of your agony, but all you found was an echo of your own silent sighs. I know the crushing loneliness that sits upon your heart like a heavy stone. I know how it feels to walk into a room overflowing with laughter and people, yet carry a profound weight inside, feeling entirely detached, misunderstood, and invisible. But hear my voice clearly today. You were never invisible to me. I saw you in every single moment of isolation, and I was standing close to you than your very breath. I remember the exact moments when your trust was shattered, when the people you relied on turned their backs on you, when you needed them most. I saw the sharp daggers that pierced your spirit, when promises spoken in total sincerity suddenly crumbled into nothing but worthless dust. You asked me in your tears, "Why, Father? Why did those I cherished wound me so deeply? Is there something wrong with me?" You began to believe the toxic lies of the enemy, the cruel whispers that said you were unlovable, that you were rejected, and that your life was a sequence of endless failures. But I tell you today, those betrayals were never a measure of your worth. I allowed those broken human attachments to be cut away, not to punish you, but to save you from a trap you could not see. I wanted your roots to grow deep into me, the only unshifting foundation, the only source of absolute truth. The fire you have been walking through was never intended for your destruction, even though it felt like it was consuming your very life. It was a sacred furnace of refinement, specifically allowed to separate the pure gold of your devotion from the dust of worldly expectations. While others walked away when the road became too steep, you kept pressing forward, even with trembling knees, even when you felt entirely helpless. Your faith was tested in the absolute dark, and because you did not drop your shield, heaven has recorded your endurance as a massive victory. The agonizing delays you experienced were never a denial of my promises. They were a divine strategy of protection and preparation for the magnificent season that is bursting forth right now. Do not let fear or overthinking steal the peace I am releasing over you today. Your breakthrough is not just coming, it is already at the threshold. My child, listen deeply to me at this very moment. I know that you have passed through seasons filled with absolute ambiguity and chaos, those dark intervals where nothing seemed to make sense, and where every single step forward only seemed to push you deeper into the blinding uncertainty of your life. You have lifted your eyes to the silent heavens with 1,000 burning questions echoing into the quiet space. Why this? Why now? Why me? You cried out. You wept bitterly in the darkness and blamed yourself, wondering if you had made a wrong turn or if you had fallen completely outside of my divine will and my shield of protection. But I am here to assure you today that every single confusing season was still entirely under my control. Confusion is never the evidence of the absence of my hand, nor does it mean that I have turned my face away from your life. It is the exact sacred place where your faith is forged to become fiercely steadfast and completely unshakable. I allowed you to walk through the heavy shadows of trial, not to punish you, but to teach you how to rely on me and trust me far beyond what your physical eyes could ever see. When you could not find any answers from the shifting sands of this world, I was gently teaching you to cling to the only answer, the eternal anchor for every storm. When clarity was intentionally hidden from your sight, I was deepening your reliance on me rather than on your own limited human understanding. Your confusion was not your permanent punishment. It was your divine preparation for a glorious breakthrough that I have already ordained for you. I remember with deep compassion the hopeless days when you woke up with absolutely no strength to rise from your bed, when the future before you loomed like a wall, far too high and far too solid for you to ever climb. The spirit of despair continuously whispered into your ears that nothing would ever change, that your life would remain trapped forever in a cycle of pain and disappointment. I know the crushing heaviness that sat upon your chest, the sleepless nights when bitter tears burned your eyes, and the exhausting mornings when you forced yourself to smile, though your heart was breaking into a million pieces. You thought perhaps even I had grown weary of you, that I had shut heaven against your cries. But my beloved child, write this truth upon your soul. Every single sigh of despair reached my ears, every silent cry thundered in my holy presence, and every tear fell directly into my hands. Hopelessness was simply the dark canvas on which I was painting a masterpiece of hope beyond your wildest imagination. Even when you could not see it, I was never blind to your pain, never deaf to your cries, and never absent from your brokenness. Your waiting season was not a waste. It was the strategy of heaven to end your suffering today. My child, I want you to understand the true anatomy of the seasons you have endured, for nothing in my kingdom is ever permitted without a divine purpose. You have looked at your life through the lens of human limitation, seeing only the dry bones, the barren fields, and the long, agonizing delays. The enemy of your soul has continuously whispered that your current state of exhaustion is your final destination. that you have been left behind while everyone else passes you by. But I tell you today, your waiting season was never a passive, empty void. It was a period of deep, unseen spiritual formation. Just as a seed must sit in the absolute darkness of the earth, compressed and hidden from the world before it can burst into a mighty oak, your spirit was being anchored deep into my unshakable truth. I intentionally allowed the superficial structures of your life to be shaken so that only what is eternal and unbreakable would remain within you. You had to learn how to praise me when the cupboard was bare, how to worship me when your heart was shattered, and how to declare my goodness when you were surrounded by walls of absolute impossibility. Every single day that you chose to trust me despite the lack of evidence, every moment you forced your trembling knees to bow in prayer, instead of walking away, you were accumulating a weight of glory that is about to manifest in your physical reality. The very areas where you were stripped bare are the exact places where my abundance is about to overflow. Hear my decree over your life today. The period of restriction, stagnation, and heavy spiritual oppression is officially broken. I am shifting the atmosphere around you from mourning to dancing, from heavy ash to beautiful crowns of glory. The doors that have been jammed shut against your destiny for years are suddenly unlocking by the power of my breath. You will no longer have to beg for crumbs or fight for scraps from tables that were never designed to feed your royal identity. I am preparing a table directly in the presence of your enemies, and I am anointing your head with fresh holy oil until your cup completely runs over. Stand tall, dry your bitter tears, and prepare your heart, because the structural transition into your promised land begins right now. My child, look at your hands. Look at the weary lines on your face when you catch your reflection in the mirror. You see aging, you see the exhaustion of 1,000 sleepless nights, and you see a body that feels too weak to carry the heavy mantle of your destiny. But when I look at you, I do not see weakness. I see the magnificent resilience of a warrior who refused to surrender when the arrows of life were flying from every direction. I am touching your physical body right now. I am breathing fresh, holy life into your lungs, restoring the vigor that the stress of this world tried to drain away from your bones. Every moment of physical fatigue you endured while waiting for my promise was not an indication of decay. It was the quiet settling of your spirit, preparing to carry the enormous weight of the blessings I am releasing over you today. The mind that has been spinning in circles, trying to solve problems in the middle of the night, I command it to be still. I'm casting down every anxious thought, every phantom fear, and every deceptive lie that told you that your health, your peace, and your youth would never return. I am your Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals you, and I am rewriting the medical reports, the financial deficits, and the relational fractures that kept you locked in a perpetual state of worry. You have been running on adrenaline and fear for so long that you have forgotten what true rest feels like. Today, I am covering you with my peace, like a warm blanket in the absolute midst of your chaos. It is a peace that surpasses human understanding, a deep cellular rest that will quiet your racing heart and restore your fractured mind. You do not have to strive anymore. You do not have to force open doors that require you to compromise your dignity or bend your values. The strategy of the enemy was to make you so tired that you would settle for a counterfeit blessing just to escape the pressure of the wilderness. But because you held on, because you chose to starve in the wilderness rather than feast at the table of compromise, I am rewarding your persistence with the authentic treasures of my kingdom. You have proven that you love the giver more than the gift, and that is why you can be trusted with the extraordinary inheritance that is manifesting right now. Your strength is being renewed like the eagles, and you will run and not grow weary. You will walk and not faint. My child, let these words settle deeply and soothe the most exhausted corners of your weary soul at this very moment. I know the exact depth of the invisible scars you have been carrying, wounds that no one else in this world can see, comprehend, or validate. You have suffered from the agonizing sting of empty promises, the sudden betrayal of those you once trusted with your entire heart, and the suffocating disappointment when every single effort you put forth seemed to return to you as an absolute, mocking zero. There were nights when you sat completely alone in the absolute darkness, staring at the ruins of your expectations, crying out in total isolation, wondering if I was still there, or if I had turned my face away from your destiny forever. You watched from the sidelines as others effortlessly achieved their breakthroughs, stepping through wide open doors of opportunity and success, while you were kept confined in a narrow, restricted and painful space. You felt like a forgotten afterthought, completely left behind in a wilderness season that felt utterly endless. But today I am pulling back the veil to reveal the heavenly secret behind those agonizing days of obscurity. What you perceived as a bitter, cold abandonment was actually the most rigorous, loving containment and protection that I designed specifically for you. If I had not hidden you away in the deep valley of isolation, the enemy would have easily detected and destroyed the massive, royal seed of destiny that I planted within your soul. What you labeled as a painful, agonizing delay was actually the perfect, flawless calculation of divine timing. I knew exactly when your character would be ready, and I knew exactly when the atmosphere around you would be perfectly aligned to receive the heavy weight of glory I am about to manifest through your life. What you mistook for terrifying silence or complete indifference from my throne was actually a top-secret divine strategy working on your behalf. In that silence, I was never absent. I was actively dismantling the invisible chains that bound your ancestry, clearing the hidden blockages ahead of your path, and forging within your spirit a supernatural resilience that no earthly storm can ever break again. I hid you like a priceless treasure in the hollow of my hand, protecting you from toxic opinions, premature exposure, and the traps of pride that would have ruined your calling. For a tree to stand unshakable in the highest winds, its roots must first dig deep into the silent, dark earth. Your hidden season was when your roots of faith were anchoring deep into me. Because you passed the test of patience and refused to let go of my hand when your soul was weary, I declare that your season of obscurity is officially closed. Your season of revelation begins today. You are stepping into the light, not as a wounded survivor, but as a chosen warrior, clothed in power, wisdom, and revealed glory. My child, look back at the people who have exited your life during this grueling, painful season of waiting. You wondered why doors to certain relationships were suddenly slammed shut, why friendships you thought would last a lifetime went completely cold, and why people you fiercely protected chose to walk away when your own life became heavy and broken. Your weary heart bled from the sting of rejection, and you wondered in your quiet moments if you were simply too difficult to love, or if you were meant to wander this earth in absolute permanent isolation. But I tell you today, it was my sovereign, loving hand that intentionally separated you from the crowd. Your path was uniquely harder because your calling is entirely uncommon. I could not allow ordinary, shallow attachments to walk with you into the extraordinary, heavy territory I have prepared for your destiny. You could not walk the easy, crowded road because the easy road produces weak, shallow roots that cannot withstand the wind. I had to isolate you so that you would finally stop drinking from the dry, shifting wells of human approval and start relying completely on the overflowing eternal spring of my presence. Do not harbor an ounce of bitterness toward those who abandoned you or mistook your quiet strength for weakness and defeat. Forgive them, let them go, and leave them completely in the past, for you cannot carry the toxic baggage of old offenses into the brilliant, blinding dawn of your new season. If you hold on to anger, it will only poison the immense blessing and cloud the clear vision I am dropping into your spirit right now. I am placing divine keys into your weary hands today. These are keys forged in the secret furnace of your private endurance, keys of absolute surrender, radical obedience, and unshakable trust. With these keys, you will effortlessly unlock supernatural opportunities that have been sealed shut from the rest of the world for generations. You are stepping into a season where divine provision will flow from completely unexpected, unexplainable sources, and massive doors of influence will swing wide open before your eyes. I am aligning you with true kingdom connections, people of destiny who will celebrate your light rather than try to dim it or exploit it. Walk forward with holy, quiet confidence, for the isolation of the wilderness is officially over, and your divine alignment begins today. My child, now that you stand at the very threshold of this great awakening, I must give you clear, unyielding instructions to protect the glorious harvest that is rising before you. Do not take these words lightly, for every utterance from my throne carries the profound weight of eternity. As the winds of transformation blow in your favor, the enemy of your soul will launch his final, most deceptive weapon against your spirit, the weapon of intense, irrational fear. Fear is his favorite tool to paralyze my chosen ones right before they cross the finish line. He will whisper into the quiet spaces of your mind that you are not ready, that you are entirely incapable, and that you are utterly unworthy of the immense blessings I am pouring out upon your life today. The accuser will try to magnify your human weaknesses, highlight your past mistakes, and continuously replay your old failures in your mind, desperate to make you step back into the shadows instead of moving forward into the light. But I command you today, silence those toxic lies in my name. Fear does not originate from me. I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of supernatural power, of deep, unconditional love, and of a sound, disciplined mind. When the phantom terrors of the future try to creep back into your heart, speak my name aloud. When doubt tries to choke the seed of destiny I have planted within you, boldly declare my eternal promises over your life. Remember always, I do not call the qualified, I qualify the called. If I have chosen you, then I have already equipped you with everything necessary to possess your promised land. Be incredibly careful, my beloved child, with whom you share this secret acceleration. Not everyone who smiles at you in your seasons of survival possesses the capacity to celebrate your seasons of revival. Do not expose the tender, emerging miracle to those who cannot handle the brilliant light within you. Keep these holy revelations deeply hidden in your heart, nurturing them in sacred silence, like a precious seed buried in fertile ground. If you expose my plans too early to the shifting opinions of men, their doubt and envy may trample what I am growing. Let the miracle mature in quiet intimacy with me, and when the appointed time arrives, the undeniable fruit of your breakthrough will speak louder than any words you could ever say. My child, listen closely to my voice as I establish the necessary spiritual guardrails for your new season of elevation. To fully sustain the massive doors of breakthrough I am opening before you today, your prayer life must undergo a radical transformation. Do not allow your communication with me to become a dry, monotonous ritual or an empty afterthought that you only turn to when an unexpected crisis strikes your home. Let prayer become the very breath of your soul, a continuous, intimate conversation that keeps you anchored closely to my heart through every high and low. Speak to me in the quietness of the morning, before the loud worries of this world demand your attention. Cry out to me in the stillness of the night, when the darkness tries to magnify your old anxieties and regrets. Speak to me when your spirit feels overwhelmingly heavy, and rejoice before me when my joy overflows within your house. Do not measure the power of your prayers by how many eloquent or perfect words you speak, but by how much of your raw, unfiltered heart you surrender into my hands. It is in this sacred space of uncompromised intimacy that your strength will be supernaturally renewed, your spiritual ears will be tuned to my whispers, and your spirit will be sharpened to detect every deceptive scheme of the enemy. Without this constant communion, even the greatest material blessings will feel empty and distant. But with a life rooted deeply in prayer, you will walk in an absolute, unshakable awareness of my presence every single second of your day. I give you this urgent warning today because the subtle strategy of the adversary is to make you too busy, too exhausted, or too distracted to seek my face. He will surround you with minor, harmless excuses and gentle distractions, hoping you will prioritize the maintenance of the blessing over your intimacy with the giver. Keep your eyes fixed unswervingly on me, for if you remain close, no weapon formed against your destiny shall prosper. Furthermore, I command you to completely stop comparing your unique journey with the timelines of those around you. Many will seem to be miles ahead of you. Many will appear to be moving at a lightning-fast pace, and many will look as though they are overflowing with effortless prosperity. But I remind you today, my beloved, your path is entirely distinct because your eternal calling is completely uncommon. The spectacular breakthrough I am releasing into your life is meticulously tailored to fit your specific identity. To compare your timeline with another is to deeply dishonor the divine architecture I have designed specifically for you. Be entirely content with my perfect pace. Trust the intricate process of my pruning and honor the singularity of your calling. What I have written for your life cannot be stolen by men. It cannot be delayed past its appointed time, and it cannot be diminished by the progress of anyone else. Stand firm, step completely out of the trap of comparison, and watch my glory unfold on your behalf. My child, as you stand at the threshold of this sudden divine acceleration, there is one critical weight that you must consciously leave behind at the altar of absolute surrender. I know the deep trauma of the betrayals you have suffered. I know the exact names of those who calculated your downfall, those who slandered your pure intentions in the dark, and those who weaponized your vulnerability against your own household. I watched every bitter tear that fell from your eyes when you discovered that the people you fed, the people you clothed with your fierce loyalty, and the people you rescued in their moments of absolute desperation were the very ones plotting to ruin your name and erase your legacy. Your human heart was completely shattered into a million fragments, and a cold, heavy spirit of bitterness tried to permanently anchor itself within your soul, whispering that you should close your heart forever and live in a state of perpetual defense. But hear my warning clearly today, my beloved child. You cannot carry the toxic baggage of old offenses into the brilliant, blinding dawn of your new season. If you hold on to the resentment, if you continuously replay their cruel words in your mind, you are allowing the enemies of your past to dictate the parameters of your future. Bitterness is a subtle, slow-acting poison that you drink yourself, foolishly hoping that it will destroy your oppressors. But in reality, it only corrupts the immense blessings and clouds, the clear prophetic vision I am pouring into your spirit right now. I am not asking you to forgive them because their actions were right or because their cruelty was justified. I am commanding you to forgive them, because you deserve absolute supernatural freedom. Release the offenses today so that your weary hands may be entirely empty and open to receive the extraordinary gifts, the divine keys, and the sudden provision I am placing within them. Let go of the desperate need for human closure or worldly apology, for the justice of heaven is far greater than any earthly vindication. While they were busy speaking calculated lies against your character, I was busy recording your endurance and writing your victory into eternity. I am removing the stinging venom of rejection from your heart right now, replacing it with the soothing balm of my unconditional love and an unshakable sense of divine identity. Walk completely away from the graves of past relationships. Do not look back at the houses that rejected your light, and step boldly into the magnificent territory I have custom designed for your absolute joy. My child, walk in radical obedience from this day forward, for obedience is the ultimate divine key that unlocks every single promise written in your destiny book. Do not mistake obedience for a heavy, legalistic burden designed to restrict your freedom or strip you of your joy. In my kingdom, true obedience is not about flawless perfection, because I already know your human limitations and the fragility of your frame. It is about complete, uncompromised surrender. When I whisper into your spirit to go, then move without hesitation. When I command you to wait in the stillness, then anchor your soul and do not try to force your own timing. When I explicitly instruct you to leave a toxic environment, a deceptive comfort zone, or a familiar attachment behind, do not argue with my wisdom, do not negotiate with my boundaries, and do not look back. Simply release it with total trust. Every single act of quiet obedience draws you deeper into the supernatural, effortless flow of my ultimate blessings. You must understand this deep divine secret. Obedience will take you infinitely further than human effort, further than natural talent, and further than exhaustive mechanical striving. The world teaches you to hustle, to manipulate, and to grind until your spirit is entirely broken and running on empty. But I am teaching you to align your will with mine. Radical obedience will instantly place you exactly where I want you to be, bypassing years of human struggle, cutting through decades of generational delays, and positioning you directly underneath the open windows of heaven. As you walk boldly into this unlocked territory, stay highly watchful, for the enemy of your soul is incredibly subtle and patient. He will not always come with loud, terrifying threats that you can easily detect and rebuke. Instead, he will try to infiltrate your new season of abundance with gentle distractions, small compromises, and seemingly harmless excuses. He will try to make you too busy managing your new wealth to pray, too tired to believe in the next level of your calling, and too distracted by human praise to listen to my quiet instructions. Guard what I have placed in your heart with absolute daily vigilance. Do not allow the casual, temporary noise of this world to drown out the sacred frequency of my voice. You are my chosen vessel, an uncommon warrior set apart for an uncommon assignment, and your obedience in this critical hour will determine the massive scope of the legacy you leave behind. My child, do you feel the shifting in the spiritual atmosphere around your life, even at this exact micro moment? The unseen realm is heavily moving on your behalf, and the winds of total transformation are blowing intensely in your favor. What once was completely blocked by spiritual opposition is now opening. What once fiercely resisted your hand is now gracefully yielding, and what once seemed light years away is now drawing near. Heaven's divine order is perfectly aligning with your physical life, and you are standing precisely at the threshold of a season unlike any you have ever known. This breakthrough is not merely a vague spiritual sentiment or an abstract theory. It is a structural reality that will touch every single corner of your earthly existence, your health, your family, and your livelihood. I am touching your finances right now. I am completely opening up streams of supernatural provision that were once systematically dammed up by the enemy's ancient schemes. You have known what it means to live in a state of constant lack, to count every penny with heavy anxiety, and to wonder how the practical needs of tomorrow would ever be met. Lack tried to permanently define your name, your family, and your legacy, but I say to you today, lack is no longer your identity. I am the Lord who provides, and I am releasing an abundance into your life that human logic cannot compute or explain. Do not be surprised when unexpected resources suddenly manifest before your eyes, or when provision flows into your house from sources you never imagined possible. This is not a coincidence. It is not a worldly accident. It is the deliberate unfolding of the secret treasures I reserved explicitly for this moment in your life. I am restoring the years that the locusts have eaten away. Every single year you spent weeping in silence, every opportunity that was stolen from you by deceitful hands, and every massive investment of time that seemed to yield nothing but dust. I am multiplying and returning it to your hands completely. You will see a sudden acceleration in your life, where a single day of my favor will accomplish more than 10 years of your independent striving. Chains of debt are breaking right now. Walls of systemic limitation are crumbling before your face, and rivers of life-giving water are forming directly in the dry deserts of your life. You will no longer be defined by what you lost, what you suffered, or what you had to endure. You will be universally marked by the undeniable magnitude of your breakthrough. Lift your eyes to the horizon of what I am unveiling today, for the heavy night of weeping has officially ended, and the glorious dawn of your divine fulfillment has arrived. My child, look closely at the profound depth of the spiritual authority I am resting upon your shoulders in this exact hour. You have spent decades feeling like an underestimation, a casualty of circumstances, and a weak soul constantly buffeted by the harsh storms of life. But today, as your long waiting season officially comes to its divine conclusion, I am revealing your true name and your authentic identity in my kingdom. You are not a broken victim who merely managed to crawl out of the furnace of affliction. You are a highly refined vessel of honor, specifically chosen and explicitly tested to carry a weight of glory that would crush an ordinary spirit. The supernatural resilience you developed in the absolute dark was not an accident. It was the exact measurement of structural strength required for the massive territory you are inheriting today. The suffering you survived was never meant to simply end in your own personal comfort or private prosperity. I allowed you to experience the crushing weight of invisible agony and profound isolation so that you could become an unshakable sanctuary for other weary souls who are currently drowning in the exact same darkness you just escaped. Because you understand the anatomy of a tear, because you know the terrifying silence of an unanswered prayer. You possess a supernatural empathy and a heavy spiritual mantle that cannot be bought or counterfeited. Your voice will carry my healing frequency. Your story will automatically dismantle the spirit of despair in others, and your very presence will serve as a living, breathing testimony that my promises are completely real and my timing is perfectly flawless. You are transitioning from a desperate seeker of breakthroughs into a chosen distributor of breakthroughs for my kingdom. I am completely rewriting your family's lineage and breaking every single generational limitation that tried to anchor your household in poverty, sickness, and perpetual anxiety. The heavy chains of struggle that bound your parents and grandparents are dissolving right now by the raw power of my holy fire. Your children and your children's children will walk through wide open doors that you had to bleed to unlock. You have paid the ultimate price in secret endurance, and heaven is issuing a permanent decree of spiritual and material freedom over your entire bloodline. Do not look back at the old patterns of survival, and do not allow the ghost of your past poverty to dictate how you manage the massive abundance I am dropping into your life today. Walk forward with absolute holy dignity, for you are my chosen warrior, and your permanent season of revealed glory starts right now. My child, listen deeply to my voice as I prepare to lead you through the very final steps of this monumental divine transition. I know that your soul has been intensely tired, and your mind has been utterly exhausted after spending years fighting in absolute isolation, hidden away in deep obscurity. But look closely now, for the dark shadow of your long night is finally receding, and the brilliant dawn of your total deliverance is breaking right before your eyes. The grueling trials and the violent, terrifying storms you have quietly endured during this heavy season were never a permanent sentence of destruction meant to wipe you out. They were a sacred, intentional preparation to upgrade your spiritual authority, your wisdom, and your capacity to handle a completely new level of my glory. I want you to etch this truth permanently into your soul. The great restoration, supernatural compensation, and explosive breakthrough I am releasing into your life today is not a temporary emotional high. It is not a fleeting moment of happiness or a fragile blessing that will quickly fade away like the superficial rewards this broken world offers. This is an eternal establishment, an unshakable destiny issued directly from the throne of heaven, specifically for you because you are my chosen one. The doors of massive opportunity, the overflowing streams of financial provision, and the deep physical healing that I am personally carving open for your life cannot be shut by any human hand or any demonic force. I have permanently sealed my protection, my favor, and my covenant over your entire household and everything that concerns your future. Never look back at what has been shattered behind you. I command you to completely walk away from the houses that rejected your light, from the toxic environments that drained your spiritual energy, and from the deceitful relationships that strangled your faith and slandered your identity. There are people I actively uprooted from your life, not because I was deaf to your prayers, but because I love you far too much to allow their unholy presence to contaminate or steal your massive harvest. Do not attempt to rebuild what I have sovereignly demolished, and do not waste your tears trying to salvage connections that heaven has officially amputated from your path. Now, as you boldly step into this new season with absolute holy confidence, the enemy will desperately try to weaponize your old memories to induce panic and fear within your mind. He will continuously remind you of the nights you wept alone in despair, the deep mistakes of your past, and the moments when you were on the absolute verge of giving up completely. But I declare over you today, every single one of those invisible scars has been officially transformed into a glorious medal of honor in my kingdom. You are no longer a broken survivor. You are an unshakable warrior, refined through the holy fire to manifest my glory. Lift your head, embrace the supernatural peace I have covered you with, for your waiting season is officially over, and your era of revealed glory begins right now. My beloved child, we have arrived at the ultimate destination of this sacred, divine encounter. Every word that has been whispered into your spirit today was not meant to merely comfort you for a brief moment. It was designed to fundamentally alter the course of your destiny forever. As you step away from this holy sanctuary and back into the physical world, I want you to carry an absolute, unshakable confidence within your soul. The old version of you, the one who were constantly overwhelmed by heavy anxiety, crushed by the agonizing sting of betrayal, and completely paralyzed by the fear of an uncertain future, has been left behind in the ash of the wilderness. You are stepping out today as a completely new creation, an unshakable pillar of faith, and a chosen vessel overflowing with the pure light of my presence. Do not allow the casual, distracting noise of the world or the deceptive lies of the enemy to steal the heavy weight of glory that has been deposited into your heart during this hours-long communion. When the doubts try to creep back into your mind, remember the absolute certainty of my voice. When circumstances seem to contradict the magnificent breakthroughs I have promised you today, anchor yourself in the eternal truth that I am your God and I am entirely incapable of lying or failing you. Every single open door that I have sovereignly carved out for your destiny is completely locked in place, and no earthly entity or demonic force possesses the power to reverse my decree. A final covenant blessing over your life. I declare over your life right now that your long, agonizing waiting season is officially over. Your era of hidden suffering has permanently given way to your season of revealed glory. I bless your physical health with total restoration. I bless your finances with supernatural expansion. And I bless your relationships with divine peace and unity. You will run and never grow weary. You will walk and never faint. And you will universally manifest the undeniable goodness of your Father in every single step you take. Hold fast to my hand. Keep your eyes unswervingly fixed on my face, and walk boldly into the magnificent territory that I have custom designed for your absolute joy. You have passed the ultimate test. Your loyalty has been proven genuine, and your reward is bursting forth right now. Well done, my faithful and chosen child. Your breakthrough is here.